Alright. Okay. So, for the project that we will be doing today, I've already discussed with you ang sketch and the initial, well, introduction for Extrude, its add and cut modes. This time, gagamitin natin yung mga yon para magamit siya in creating what we call components. Kapag isang body lang yung kini-create ninyo, what you are able to make is what we call a body. But in this case, kung makikita nyo to, there are... Bakit ganyan? Okay, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 components which include the left and right links, the crosslink or the horizontal crosslink to be specific, and the rotator plate. So yun yung mga kailangan natin na i-build. And each of them shall be one component each. So for those who are familiar with the way how CAD works, and in drafting, what view is this? When you are referring to this isometric figure, this is the front view. How about this one?
Top view.
Okay, sige, top view. Para sa crosslink, top view, front view. And para naman sa assembly plate, we have the front view. Now let's build the assembly plate first, because it will be the one which will be what we call grounded. Grounded means hindi siya gagalaw and it is fixed to the ground. The only ones that will be doing the movements are the joints of these crosslinks. So let's start. Since madali lang naman yung nandito sa may plate, these are ang labo ng ating projector. The diameter of the holes are 10 for those, and 20 units from the edges. So let's do this. Create a rectangle that is 40 by 120. So just choose any point and then let's create the rectangle. 40 for the height and 120 for the length. Okay, so that's it, but we need to put it at the origin to make it fully constrained. So let's choose this point as coincident to the origin. So naka-block na siya, therefore it's fully constrained. Now we need some additional elements, the circles. Using the command C, you can create 2 circles. Yes. What's the diameter? It's 10. So let's set this as 10. Let me move out the then for the location of this circle, it is set to be 20 units from the left. So we use the dimension command. From this point to the center, it's 20 in the horizontal direction. So we set it at 20. And it will move on its own. Then we copy the circle Control C, Control V. Once you Control V or paste your figure, it will ask you to translate. Translate meaning to say move. Move your figure that is pasted. So, uh, lagay lang natin dyan. And then, once you are done with the moving, you can just enter. Since this is copied, let me remove this one, the dimension constraint. What we can do, instead of putting too much dimension commands, bakit ang daming circle dito? Let me remove one. Okay? This is 20. What we can do is to make these two circles have the same diameter. So to do that, we can click on both. To click both, you need to also long press control. So click here, and then just go to the constraint and use equal. So for whatever dimension set for the left circle, it will follow for the right circle. We still have something missing, the dimension constraint with regards to horizontal distance. For the left side, it's also 20. In this case, we can see from the original figure that the center should be 80 units away from each other. But if we're to do that in Fusion, what will happen is what we call the over constraint. You already know that the left circle is 20 units from the left and the right circle is 20 units from the right. So it's already a given that the in-betweener is 80. Thus, it regards it as over constraint. Okay po, with the note on that. Then, we need this to be 20 units from the bottom. So we put here 20. There. And what do we need to use as a constraint to make the right circle and the left circle have their centers aligned? Which constraint? We should use the horizontal, vertical. There. All items are in black. They are then fully constrained. Next thing that we have to do is to finally extrude. So we use letter E to extrude the surface. What's the thickness? 15. So we use 15, 1/5 in any direction. Then we have this figure. So yeah. Okay, so when you are ordinarily doing this, you get a body. So this is what we call the body one. You can change the name. Let's call it the rotator plate. Rotator plate. But in order for us to combine different elements of the system, we have to change this to a component. So right click on the body and then create. You can either do it here or here. You can still create components from bodies. So creating the components from the bodies, now the difference between the body and component. Okay, so when you are editing later on, once we have more than two bodies or two components, once you edit the body, it will affect all those that are included in the body. Yes, for example, um, let's say you have two of this and they are, say, a distance away. Let's say like that. And then they are part of one body. Once you extrude from here, and then you let the red mark, diba, when it's red mark for extrude, it means to cut. So instead of just here cutting for extrude, it will also include the other one. But for components, if they are described as different components, it will cut through the first one but not to the second one. Okay, we'll try to do an experiment later when we are finished with all the four components. So this is already a component. Now let's try to create another for the crosslink this time. So for the crosslink, we need also 80. So again, let's create a sketch on the same plane. So circles, two circles. Again, this is 10. Once done, these are 80 cm apart. Next, we need them to be aligned horizontally, followed by, what's next? We have half circles. So let me create a circle that is, what's this? It has a radius of 10. So 20. Then another circle here. These two are also equal. And then what more do we have to do? The horizontal line. So let's have L, L, L. Let's have some lines here, which is horizontal, and another line at the bottom. Okay, now what constraint should I use to connect the circles? I can use tangent to make sure that it only intersects with the circles at only one point each. So this one to here, and this one